Hey there, hero. It's David H. Lawrence, the 17th. Recently, Pozotron, which, if you're not familiar, is a service that allows you to compare the manuscript of an audiobook with the narration that you create for that manuscript and find the errors so that you can do pickups before the book is published. It's a proofing tool that you can use to make yourself look brilliant. And there was an issue recently with Pozotron where a series of narrators in the community were concerned that Pozotron was hanging on to the audio that we were uploading and potentially using it to create AI voices. And we've had experience with .coms where they've just ignored our concerns, but not in the case of Pozotron. And in fact, they reacted so well and so completely to what we brought up to them that I wanted to have a conversation with their CEO, Jake Poznansky. And he agreed to do that. So we're going to do that next, right here, on this episode of the VO Heroes podcast. Jake Poznansky, am I pronouncing your name properly?
Yep, that's right.
Awesome. Jake is the co-founder and is it CEO, President, Grand Poobah, Supreme U-Boat Commander? What is your title at Pozotron?
CEO right now. So that's my current role. It's been for a little while now. So
great. Now, for those of you who don't know what Pozotron is an amazing SaaS, service as a software offering from the company that allows you to really do a great job proofreading, proof listening to, and comparing to the original manuscript what you voiced for audiobooks. And it's made me look like a brilliant superstar to my clients, and I love telling other people about it. What's happened in the last couple of months is it came up in a number of different venues that there was no way to delete the audio that you would upload to Pozotron when you do a project, and some people were afraid that Pozotron was going to use that audio to create artificial intelligence-based voices and compete against human voices. And I had the opportunity to talk to Jake maybe a month and a half ago, something like that,
yep.
About this and say, look, this is a concern of the community, and I really think you should address it. And boy, oh boy, the reason I'm doing this podcast episode is, boy, did you address it. You got big highfalutin, high money lawyers involved out of New York to make sure that everything was beautiful. Tell me what your thought process was when I presented this conundrum to you.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for kind of bringing it to our attention. It was kind of something on the back burner. This kind of concern is something like we watch some of the forums and Facebook groups from time to time, but kind of I think it was the right moment now to really bring it to the forefront and kind of put this one to bed. So kind of the first thing that's always been true is that Pozotron does not share your data or sell your data to any third parties. So all of the Pozotron algorithms, all the Pozotron magic, that's something that we developed in-house. And so it doesn't go out to any other companies for processing. So that was already kind of like the baseline that we were starting from, which I think was pretty good. And what kind of ended up as the result of this confirmation of this conversation was we just wanted to confirm that, if you want to delete your data from our system, you totally can do that. So now that's officially enshrined in our terms of service. And then furthermore, I think there's kind of like a second aspect of this conversation is, well, a lot of people talk about AI voices and how that can potentially one day come to change our industry. And we wanted to put that one to bed as well. And we've added in our terms of service language that says that we won't create a likeness of your voice without your permission. And it's not like we're even working on that right now. But if, as technology develops, kind of the industry may change over time. When that change occurs, we're not doing anything without your permission.
Okay. And to be clear, there are people who will immediately go, wait a minute, you're not doing it without our permission. What does that mean? Is that in your plans? And like you said, you've stated to me that it's not in your plans, but who can predict what the future holds? I mean, obviously, we have concerns about AI voices. They're getting better. They're getting cheaper. For some books, they can easily compete with a human voice, and the listener wouldn't know the difference. But I think the big part is being able to delete your data once you've finished using Pozotron for your services. And just to read verbatim what you put in your terms of services, you now have a section called Data Deletion Option. Customer may at any time initiate a quote delete project unquote request via the user interface of the services. Within 1 week of such initiation, service provider will cause customers' inputted data associated with the applicable project to be permanently deleted from the platform and all other service provider systems. So that means servers that you may have offloaded the data to do the processing of. I know you guys use Amazon S3 for some of your storage, or Amazon servers somehow. And this is, to me, the response time was the big thing. Not just what you said, but how quickly you guys got together and came up with this, and how you got your lawyers involved. You had conversation with union representatives, with me. I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the fact that sometimes .comers are not necessarily aware of the effect of being enthusiastic about technology.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we went through this earlier this year with another institution who was really excited about using AI voices and put out a press release, and they had no idea what kind of a negative, deleterious effect that had on the human narrators that were the bread and butter of their business. And so I thought it was great how quickly you guys responded. And there's another section in your terms of service about the AI voice work and things like that. It just really, it was like a shining example of how a business looks at things and takes care of concerns in a way that really told us, at least told me, that you care about the future of your business and that you care about the people who are making your business today.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for those kind words. And one thing I always like to say about Positron is, our goal is not to automate people away from the audiobook creation process. The goal is really to give people tools to take away some of the grunge work, kind of the unpleasant parts, the boring and repetitive and monotonous tasks, and kind of free you up to really delight your listeners and make a great book that people will want to listen to again and again.
Yeah. Yeah, I think now would be a great time to do a little PSA. And that is, if you're using Pozotron just to generate a list of diffs, a list of errors, and not going through that list to confirm that those errors are actual errors rather than a judgment call that you've made, or a missing word that you needed to put in, or a purposeful mispronunciation based on the content. And there's 100 other things that could be the difference. Pozotron does a great job of just finding the difference between the manuscript and what you said, but you always have to review that.
Yes.
And that's really important, because a lot of people have just been using Pozotron as a proofer, in quotes, generating this list and handing it off to a narrator without reviewing the errors. And I know that's not how you designed the tool.
Right. And to speak a little bit about that, the way the Positron system works, it's just like you said. Every time there's a discrepancy that we can detect between the manuscript and your recording, Positron's going to flag that as, hey, you should take a look here. But then it's really up to the customer to say, oh, this sentence, oh yeah, I totally flipped the meaning here. That's not what I was going for. Kind of mark that as a pickup and go in and fix it. But
Sure.
there are some cases, and it kind of depends on your project, where, oh, maybe you made a small mistake, but it basically means the same thing. It's not worth picking up. Or sometimes there's even a typo in the book that you fixed as a narrator. Hopefully not too many of those, but we know it happens. So there's kind of a bit of a judgment call. And I think there always will be a judgment call, no matter how good we make the service. I like to tell this story. Kind of one of our early beta testers submitted a book to the very first versions of Positron, where it processed the thing. And inside of this book, the main character goes into a bar, has a couple drinks, and the narrator starts kind of slurring the words of that character. And all of a sudden, Positron is saying, "Oh, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong." So that's kind of like a judgment call we'll never be able to make. Maybe he was overplaying it a little bit too.
Yeah. So if you as an audiobook narrator or as anybody who's doing narration that needs to be verbatim and confirmed and is interested in being accurate, if you want to try Positron, here's something that happened a few months ago. I was able to strong arm Jake and the rest of the company into not only giving my clients an hour free, which is their normal loveliness. You can go on Pozotron and get an hour free. But for my customers, for my clients, for my students, Jake is giving you 7 hours free and a discount on a number of the options that you have if you choose to subscribe to the service. And all you need to do is go to voheroes.com/get-positron. The URL is being shown on your screen right now. Go there and you'll get not 1, but 7 hours for free. And you'll be that's like a whole book. You can test a whole book with that. And you want to talk about making you look brilliant to your rights holders and to your clients and to your publishers. Oh my gosh. Jake, I so appreciate you being on the podcast with me, and I appreciate what you've done to clarify what people can expect from Pozotron and the confidence that they can have in you as a company. Putting it in your terms of service was just perfect. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, and thank you for your help in getting the message out and making sure that we're aligned with the narrator community, which we very much respect and like working with. So
awesome. Jake Poznansky from Pozotron. If you've got any questions about this, if you're a narrator and you're thinking, wait a minute, hold on, I've never even heard of Pozotron. What is this all about? How does it work? What's going on? First of all, there's another episode where I show you how Pozotron works. But if you have any questions, just scroll down below this video. Or if you're listening the audio version of this, go ahead back to voheroes.com. This will likely be one of the very first episodes you see in the articles area. Scroll down below there. Leave me a comment. Leave me a question. Love to answer it for you. I thank you so much for listening and for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.